The autumn wind of 1876 shrieked across the Dakota Territory, wild and mournful like a banshee loose from the grave, dragging whispers of impending war and the bite of a brutal winter yet to come. Dr. Rebecca Thompson had grown attuned to the subtle omens of danger, the sudden absence of animals on the plains, the twitchy skittishness of her horses, the eerie hush that descended like a blanket when death came sniffing at the edges of life. But nothing had prepared her for what she found crawling toward her isolated cabin just before dawn, nor for the terrifying choice that would force her to question every conviction she held about mercy, risk, and survival. For 2 years, Rebecca had lived alone on the fringe of the frontier, the sole physician within 100 miles of Pine Ridge. She had fled west after tragedy hollowed out her life. Her husband, Captain William Thompson, and their infant son both claimed by cholera in Philadelphia. Out here, among the vast silences and constant threat, she had sought isolation, perhaps even atonement, immersing herself in the work of mending broken bodies in hopes that something within her might also begin to heal. But the nightmare still came every night, visions of small coffins, her husband's voice fevered and desperate, begging her to save their boy. Her cabin was a modest structure, positioned carefully between two volatile worlds, close enough for the Army post to collect supplies when needed, but deep enough into Lakota lands to offer care to native wounded who had no access to their medicine men. It was a dangerous compromise that had earned her a tentative reputation as a neutral healer. But that delicate trust was about to be tested by the arrival of a Lakota warrior with death in his eyes and an arrow between his shoulder blades. The sound that woke her wasn't entirely human. A low, ragged mix between a groan and a growl, dragged along by the restless October wind that rattled her windows. She'd been dreaming again, cradling her dying child in the fevered dark, and for a moment she thought the noise was simply part of that grief-drenched vision. But then it came again, closer this time, undeniably real. Rebecca bolted upright, reaching instinctively for the Winchester rifle beside her bed. 2 years on the frontier had taught her well. Unexpected sound in the hours before dawn usually meant danger. The groaning came a third time. This time, it was unmistakably outside her door. She yanked on her boots, shrugged into her heavy coat, and checked the rifle's action with steady fingers. Cautiously, she approached the front window and parted the curtain. In the waning moonlight, she saw him, a man crawling through the frost-covered grass, leaving a dark trail in his wake. The unmistakable fletching of an arrow jutted from his back. His movements were labored, agonizing, but he was alive. Barely. Her instincts as a doctor warred with her knowledge of frontier tactics. Every inch of her reason screamed of ambush, of decoys used to draw out the merciful. But her oath, the one she had sworn in white gloves and clean halls back east, would not let her stand idle while someone died at her doorstep. She opened the door and stepped onto the porch, rifle braced but not raised. "I'm armed," she called out in English, then repeated the warning in halting Lakota, "Mazakinua." The man stopped crawling. With a visible effort, he lifted his head. He was Lakota, perhaps his 30s, braided hair undone and tangled from whatever battle had brought him to her. But it was his eyes that caught her breath, dark, sharp, and filled with a pain deep in the wound in his back. "Help!" he rasped in broken English. "Please." She had seen enough arrow wounds to know how dire this one was. The angle was bad, likely a horseback shot during a chase. The shaft was embedded deep, near the heart. The dark stain across his chest whispered of slow internal bleeding. Still, she managed to haul him inside, inch by excruciating inch, to her surgical table. Her own muscles trembled by the time she laid him flat. What followed was a harrowing 4 hours of surgery, each second a battle between precision and panic. She followed the arrow's cruel path through muscle and sinew, trying to cause no more damage than absolutely necessary. The arrowhead was barbed, designed to tear more on its way out. She had to widen the wound to extract it. When the iron finally clinked into a metal pan, her patient's pulse was thready but there. She cleaned the area with carbolic acid, stitched him tightly, and wrapped his chest as dawn painted the world in gray. She exhaled deeply, staring at the rise and fall of his chest. She had saved another life. But in her gut, she knew this one wouldn't come without a cost. The man remained unconscious for nearly a full day. Rebecca hovered, checking his pulse, changing bandages, spooning broth between his lips. When his eyes finally fluttered open, they were wary, assessing, the look of a man waking behind enemy lines. "Where am I?" he asked in English, his voice dry but steady. "My cabin," she said without pausing from her work. 15 miles southwest of Fort Laramie. You've been unconscious for over a day. I'm Dr. Rebecca Thompson." He tried to rise, grimaced, then settled back. "You removed the arrow." "Yes. Missed your heart by about 2 inches. Nicked a lung and an artery. You should be dead." A faint smile tugged at his lips. Whackin' Tonka guided me to a healer. As he healed, Rebecca learned his name was Madonigen, Standing Bear. He spoke English with ease, having learned it through years of trade. He was intelligent, measured, and spoke of the war engulfing their peoples with philosophical grace. "Your soldiers fight because they are ordered to," he said one afternoon. "Mine fight because the bones of our ancestors sleep in this land." The intricacies of his clothing, the beadwork, the sacred symbols, they told her he wasn't just another warrior. He was someone of importance. "You're a war chief," she murmured, "and you are the white woman who heals all who come to her." Her hands paused at his bandages. "I treat the wounded," she said softly. "There are no sides in blood and breath. Your people may not see it that way. If they knew you saved me, it would destroy you." He was right, and yet she had not hesitated. By the 3rd day, he was walking, albeit slowly. That evening, she spoke plainly. "Your people will be searching. They already are. My absence is noticed. Should I be afraid?" He studied her with something like amusement. "That depends. Do you believe what your newspapers say about us?" She thought of his kindness, his strength, the deep well of respect with which he had treated her. "No," she said. "I don't." "Then you have nothing to fear." That night, as she lay awake listening to his breathing, she wondered if peace might be possible after all. But at dawn, the sound of hooves shattered the fragile quiet. 30 mounted warriors sat motionless outside her cabin, their painted faces sharp against the rising sun. At their center, astride a black stallion, was a man Rebecca recognized instantly. Crazy Horse. Younger than she expected, but no less fearsome. "They've come," Standing Bear said from behind her, fully dressed, hair red-braided. His bearing was once more that of a leader. "My cousin, Crazy Horse." She blinked. "That's your cousin?" "Yes." He lead the party. "They have come to see that I live, and to understand why a white woman risked everything to save me." Her breath hitched. "There's a bounty?" He nodded. $500. Dead or alive. You could have sold me. She looked at him, heart steady. "I didn't see a price. I saw a man who needed help." "That makes you rare. A soul seer, not a skin seer. Will you come with me?" She stepped beside him onto the porch. The effect was immediate. Warriors straightened. Murmurs rippled. Crazy Horse dismounted and approached. The 2 men spoke in Lakota, rapid and low. Then Crazy Horse turned to her. "You are the healer." "I am Dr. Rebecca Thompson." "You saved my cousin." Treated him with honor, for nothing in return. "Why?" She met his gaze without flinching. "Because he was bleeding. And I am a doctor. I made a promise to heal." He studied her as if weighing the shape of her spirit. Then he nodded slowly. "We understand sacred promises, too." At his signal, the warriors dismounted and formed a respectful circle around the cabin. Rebecca's heart pounded. But they did not raise weapons. They bowed their heads. In the frozen hush, amid the men who had come from shadow and legend, Rebecca Thompson stood still. A woman who had seen the line between war and humanity and chosen to step across it, scalpel in hand, heart open. "What's happening?" Rebecca asked, her voice soft amidst the evening's hush. "We're establishing camp," Standing Bear replied. "There are matters to discuss, ceremonies to perform. You have created a debt that cannot be forgotten." He moved to stand beside her. "Among our people," he continued, "saving a life forms a bond that lasts forever. You are no longer just a white woman who helped a wounded warrior. You are now part of something greater. What followed over the next several hours shattered every assumption Rebecca held about Lakota traditions. The warriors did not build a war camp. Instead, they assembled a ceremonial gathering, delicate and sacred. Eagle feathers, carved pipes, carefully wrapped leather bundles were unpacked and arranged with precision. Around midday, a group of women arrived, bringing more ritual items and preparing foods fragrant and unfamiliar to Rebecca's frontier palate. They wore elaborate dresses of intricate beadwork, their braids gray but dignified. One woman, perhaps 50, approached her tent. "I am Winona, mother of Standing Bear," she said in careful English. "I come to thank the woman who saved my son's life." Rebecca's heart tightened. Any mother would have done the same for her child, she answered gently. Winona shook her head. "No, many would have let him die for gold, or called soldiers to capture him. You chose healing over hatred." Her eyes were warm and understanding. "You lost children." It was not a question. Rebecca gave a small nod. "I had a son. He died of cholera when he was 6 months old." Winona's expression softened. "The spirits guide those who have known loss to help others avoid the same pain. This is why you are here, to heal my son." A young woman stepped forward, carrying an exquisitely beaded dress, azure, ivory, and gold threads shimmering in the light. Rebecca almost gasped. Winona smiled. "This is Ayanna, Standing Bear's sister. She brings you a gift." Ayanna added haltingly, "Healing woman dress." Rebecca reached out to touch it. The leather felt softer than silk, the beading so intricate it must have taken months. "It's beautiful," she whispered, "but I can't accept something so valuable." Standing Bear spoke then. "To refuse would be deeply insulting. The dress was made to honor a woman who brings healing to our people." Rebecca closed her eyes for a moment, taking it in. Then she looked across the ceremonial camp to Crazy Horse, standing tall and inscrutable near the fire. "What exactly is going to happen?" she asked Winona. "You will be formally recognized as a friend of the Lakota people," she explained. "You will be given a name in our language and a place in our tribal structure. Most importantly, you will be granted protection of all Lakota." As the sun dipped below the ridge, Crazy Horse approached Rebecca. "The ceremony will begin at moonrise," he told her. "If you choose to participate, you will be transformed from Dr. Rebecca Thompson into something new, a bridge between our peoples. If you choose not to, you remain Dr. Rebecca Thompson, respected with gratitude and honor, but this opportunity comes only once in a lifetime." She scanned the scene unfolding around her. Her quiet cabin transformed into the heart of a Lakota gathering. Warriors who had come expecting to reclaim a body were now preparing to celebrate life. When she returned to where Crazy Horse waited, she had made her choice. "I accept." At moonrise, under the full prairie moon, dozens more Lakota arrived, elders, medicine men, families, spreading out in the clearing around her cabin. Rebecca wore Ayanna's dress, its beadwork glowing softly in the firelight. The ritual began. She was led to the center of a circle around the flames, as warriors and elders began chanting. Their voices harmonized like wind whispering through grass. Crazy Horse stepped forward, holding a polished redstone pipe adorned with eagle feathers. He spoke in Lakota for several minutes, then recited the words in English. "We gather to honor a woman who chose healing over hatred, mercy over gold, courage over safety. Dr. Rebecca Thompson saved our war chief's life, even when it put her own life at risk." An elder approached bearing a medicine bundle filled with crystals, herbs, small carved figures, spiritual treasures of Lakota. This was Wapiluda, Red Star, the tribe's most respected medicine man. He circled Rebecca, sprinkling sage and sweetgrass, the scent pure and cleansing. He laid his hands on her shoulders, meeting her gaze. In clear English, he said, "You came as Otska, white woman, but tonight you are reborn as Pajawin, medicine woman. You are no longer just a healer of bodies, but a mender of spiritual wounds that divide our peoples." The crowd erupted in cheers. Warriors raised their arms toward the moon. Women sang in harmony. Children danced around the fire. Standing Bear's face glowed with relief and pride. Ayanna approached next, carrying moccasins that matched the dress. Winona placed a carved bone and turquoise necklace around Rebecca's neck. These are signs of your belonging, Winona explained. Finally, Crazy Horse offered a leather medicine bag. This contained sacred items, herbs from holy places, stones of the power of the earth, he said, slipping the bag into Rebecca's hands. As the celebration continued into the night, Rebecca found herself surrounded by people welcoming her into their circle. In a moment alone, Standing Bear took her hand. "How do you feel?" She considered, for the first time since her family's passing, what filled her heart. "I feel like I've come home to a place I never knew existed." Standing Bear smiled, speaking her new name. "That is exactly where you are. You are now Pajawin." When dawn broke on her first morning as Pajawin, most of the celebrants had departed, leaving only Crazy Horse, a few warriors, and Standing Bear's family. On the porch, Crazy Horse waited. "The celebration is over," he said quietly. "Now we must speak practically." Standing Bear emerged from the stable, moving much more easily than he had just days before. "Your life has changed," Crazy Horse continued. "You are now Pajawin, medicine woman of the Lakota, a position with responsibilities and protections." Winona appeared with a bundle of sacred herbs. "These are medicines of our people," she said, passing it to Rebecca. "You must learn to use them alongside your white medicine. There will be times when our people need your skills that army doctors cannot provide." Standing Bear spoke then, his voice steady. "And there will be times when your people need guidance in understanding our ways. You are the bridge between these worlds." Crazy Horse nodded gravely. "But you must also understand danger. Some among your people will see this as betrayal. Among mine, there will be doubt. You must walk with awareness." Rebecca felt the weight of her decision settle on her shoulders. "What do you need me to do?" "Continue healing," Crazy Horse replied simply, "but heal with purpose. Every life you save, even the smallest wound, you are building that bridge." Standing Bear stepped forward, taking her hands. "You saved me when I could have died. You accepted adoption when you could have stayed apart. Your choices will echo through generations, Pajawin." As they prepared to leave, Rebecca realized the frontier's quiet neutrality was truly over. She was no longer just Dr. Rebecca Thompson. She had become Pajawin, medicine woman, and living testament to the power of mercy. In the years that followed, her cabin became a neutral sanctuary for the wounded. White or Lakota, she combined Western medical practice with traditional healing, mastering Lakota herbs, learning the language, and training other healers in bridging cultures through medicine. That autumn morning's choice, to save a dying warrior instead of letting him die for a bounty, reverberated far beyond anything she could have imagined. Her transformation from frontier doctor to Paja Win proved that small acts of mercy can build lasting change, even between warring peoples. She embodied the belief that healing is stronger than hatred, and understanding stronger than fear. Her story, the white woman who became a Lakota medicine woman, was told for generations by campfires, not merely as a personal journey of redemption, but as a symbol, a testament that empathy can heal the deepest divisions. Her life's work showed that sometimes courage means choosing mercy when vengeance calls. What a powerful story of transformation and hope. Has a choice ever redirected your life? Have you witnessed someone forgive when revenge seemed easier? Share your thoughts below. And if this story touched you, subscribe for more frontier tales of courage, sacrifice, and unlikely friendships that remind us how humanity's greatest moments come when we choose to see past our differences and connect. Until next time, keep believing in the power of healing over hatred.